player's perspective. The SEPTA Baseball Insider Show is brought to you by Dion Square, SEPTA, Pat Dion Beverage, Penn Community Bank, and BCWSA. Let's go live and get set for the SEPTA Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. Now, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games John Brazier and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Green.
Welcome to another edition of the SEPTA Baseball Insider Show presented by WBCWSA. Watch the show live at WBCB.com or searching WBCB Sports on YouTube. Listen to the show on 1490 WBCB AM and 107.3 FM. Your station in Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer County. We're here on a beautiful day, and the man of the hour, the host of this show, the man that threw a no-hitter, was one of the dominant players on that 93 championship Phillies team, Mr. Tommy Green. Tommy, we're also being produced today by the great Chris Ermer and his associate producer, Gus Barber.
How about that? We're lucky. We got a tandem today.
Absolutely, double play combination.
Yes, that's right. They're the people that make it happen. Yeah. Hey, and just you're not John Brazier, by the way.
That's
you're
true.
the infamous Beer Warrendale.
I'm not infamous, not famous, infamous. Tommy, let's look at the Phillies right now. Went on that 6-game winning streak.
Yeah.
And the one thing that you pointed out, and we all pointed out, the good starting pitching.
How about that? Yeah.
That's important.
Well, that's important. I know to me and you.
Right.
Because we both know. I'm a firm believer that having a winning ball club and a winning season, your pitching has got to be there at some point. It's got to come around and be consistent for you when it counts. And and that's what happened this week. We've had a good run with our starting pitching, and they went deeper in the ball games they had all year. So it gives the bullpen a little bit of blow, let those guys recharge a little bit, and it's good to see them play that type of ball because that's how we went 5-1 this week.
Tommy, Rob Thompson said the other day when Wheeler was sailing through that lineup of the Detroit Tigers, look, it's not the 27 Yankees, a great team. But he was pitching a no-hitter, and he said even if he hadn't given up a run, he would have pulled him even if he was throwing a no-hitter. You threw a no-hitter. Mm-hmm. How would you react to a situation like that? I don't think I'd be very happy.
Well, you know your guys, and I guess I know personally if I felt like I was still good, I don't put myself above the team. It's team first. And if you get a chance for that individual accomplishment, you'd love to have that opportunity. But it all depends on what happens in the course of a game. Mine, in particular, was sort of like Wheeler's going in. There was a 1-0 game going into the 9th. Wheeler's was 1-0 going into the 8th. And things can happen. Happen quickly that jeopardizes you. So you got to have somebody that's ready to go. Mitch was up during our game, in my game, just to make sure. I had a lot of pitches. I had a lot more than they had. I ended up throwing 135 in mine, but I got through the 9th inning. It was just I tended to be just when I went out for the 9th, I felt just as good as I did earlier in the game. I probably a little bit better over the course of the game because to me, I know my tendency is a little bit. I don't want to say like Nola or somebody like that. I tell you, if you didn't get me the first couple innings, it was game on. Get to me a little bit. And I got settled in. It was pretty much game on. I was going deeper in the game.
You're a firm believer that pitcher gets better as the game goes on.
I do. I think they find their rhythm. Personally, that was me, sort of. Tom Glavine back in the day. Look at him back. He was notorious for giving up a ton of runs early in first inning or first 2 innings. And then after that, he probably didn't give up any. There's games I pitched. I gave up 2 or 3 runs in the first 2 innings. So like what Nola did, his last out, he gave up 3 runs in the first 3, and I'd end up pitching 7 innings and stuff and not giving up but 3 runs. Because you kind of settle in, you get in, you go in, and it's not that you're facing the lineup the third time around. They got the statistics and that type of thing coming through it all the time that you go through the third time, they fail, so they pull you. I think that's how you get better as a pitcher. I got better and sometimes stronger, and then it's all about making pitches. It's all about doing that. Now it's the manager's job to see. It's the manager's job to see when if you start elevating too much or your command starts to go. It's his job to know, hey, that's when I should pull him. That's when he kicks in and he's the big cheese and he comes and he puts the reliever there. That's what the relievers are there for. Is when you start running out of, you start losing command or running out of gas a little bit, you get you out of there.
All right, right now the Phillies are not tearing the cover off the baseball, and they're not playing as well offensively. Does that weigh on a pitcher's mind?
No, personally, never. We got a job to do ourselves, and I took it upon myself a little bit, because back when I played, I got a chance to hit and do things and do some little things as a hitter, as in bunt and move guys over. It was part of my job to affect the ball game, and I really enjoyed that side of it. But it was my job to go out there and attack the strike zone, get the game going, and keep the game going, keep our guys on our toes. If I'm throwing strikes, and not getting them on the heels by walking a lot of guys or whatever, taking too much time, my defense is going to play better, and it kind of rolls in that way. So that was my job. I didn't worry about the offensive side up because they're all going out there trying to succeed. Sometimes you run into a pitcher that's hot, and that's the bottom line.
When you look at Castellanos this year, what do you see in his approach at the plate?
Oh, it's to me. I talked with somebody about it, on one of the shows before that I've done, and I know he made a little bit of adjustment in spring training. They were saying that he got a little closer to the plate. Last year I felt like he was lunging at a lot of, his head was moving a lot, going after things. He was chasing things. And I think he felt over the course of spring training, he got where he felt he didn't have to do that because he could cover. He felt like he could cover the dish, and he started bringing the strike zone a little better to him, and he stopped that chasing, stopped that head movement, and obviously, and I think just settling into the Philadelphia Phillies way and the people up here after that first year, it's a big change coming over when you get a contract and you come to a new city with a fan base that expects a lot of things, and if you're not used to it, it's a little bit of adjustment. You got to love to play here. The fans are the best fans in the world. They're well knowledgeable, and they're going to hold you accountable, and that's what you got. Once you realize that, you're fine after that. I think that's one of the things that's helped. He's made that step forward in that avenue, and then he made another step in his approach at the plate during spring training, and it's carried over to the season.
All right, you came from Atlanta, very prestigious franchise back in the 90s. Mm-hmm. How much of an adjustment was it for you to come to Philadelphia? You knew all about the Philadelphia fans.
When I played in Atlanta, we had about 2,500 at the ballpark playing every night. I knew all of them by first names almost. I call them a bunch of front runners down there, if you ask me. Don't get me started on that either. But obviously, I got a lot of respect for the Atlanta Braves organization and the coaches in their organization that I come up with. As a matter of fact, their manager now, Brian Snitker, was my A-ball manager in 1986. He was a lifer. It's good to see him got the opportunity when he got the opportunity to manage. And he obviously they saw what they had in Brian Snitker as a brave purist and a lifer, and what he brought to the table, because he's never wavered in his approach to the game, the way he did things. That's the way he was in A-ball, and that's the way he is now in the big leagues, the way he handles things, the way he talks, and the way he does. He hasn't changed in that aspect. So I'm happy to be a part of that. But to come over here to the Phillies, I really understood. I got the dose of what real fans are, and I appreciated it. I appreciated it. I grew up, had no problem with being held accountable, for things, and that's what the Phillies fans, they do. They're going to hold you accountable. I grew up like that. My high school coach taught us that. He held us accountable in the things we did. He didn't let us get too big. And he wasn't one of those guys that was always on you all the time. But he wasn't to give you too much love either. but he was enough to say, hey, good job. He'd pat you on the back, but he'd be willing to get on. I think as a coach, you got to be willing to pat the guys on the back if you're willing. I mean, if you get on them, you got to be letting them know they do a good job, and vice versa. If they do a good job, everything can't be so positive all the time. Hey, you need to be a little better. You got to be able to get on them a little bit. I know you're trying. Hey, let's try to work on these things a little bit harder. We got to have you a little bit better. I mean, you can put your terminology, your words better sometimes to challenge people, but some guys react to different things. That's what they call it being a coach. You got to figure out what makes your guys, each guy, tick. Some guys are a little more temperamental and softer than the others. The other guys can take it. So you got to figure that out.
I'd like to see more baseball lifers involved in the game. We saw Bruce Bochy come back to the game.
Oh, my God.
Buck Showalter, people like that. You mentioned Brian Snitker.
Yeah.
I think it's so important for the development of players.
And I think here's a key statement, or a key word. And I'd like to say this to all the current players. Don't forget where this game came from. Don't forget where you came from. Don't forget where you came from. It's a huge thing. We've gotten to a point now in this game. The game was it's a beautiful game still, but it's went into a direction now. And I'm like, don't forget what baseball is now, and that's what I worry about a little bit. And the thing with the modern player, today's player, don't forget where the names and past of baseball are, especially in your organization. Why is the organization what it is? Your Mike Schmidts, your Bulls, your Steve Carltons, your Whiteys, and Robin Roberts, and all the guys know who they are, know where this franchise came from, know the Bill Gileses and the Dave Montgomerys, and stuff like that. Who got this team and organization on that path to where it is now, and keep it going and teach the kids after this the same thing, but still make those steps forward to evolve.
Absolutely.
So don't forget where you came from.
Now, we have Rob Halladay in charge of the Urban Academy for the Phillies, and we got to take a quick break.
He's the man.
We have to take a quick break, but we have a little update here.
Yeah.
A career at SEPTA. SEPTA is hiring a variety of skilled trades positions, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, millwrights, and more. As a SEPTA employee, you'll earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org. We'll be right back.
SEPTA offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
SEPTA offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
From Philadelphia to the Lehigh Valley and everywhere in between. For 150 years, Penn Community Bank has been a part of your neighborhood. Helping businesses start, supporting families as they grow, and staying connected to the people and places that make this region special. It's who we are and where we're from. Penn Community Bank, Here we are, and here we grow.
We now return to the SEPTA Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games John Brazier and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Green.
We are back here at Citizens Bank Park. I'm pinch hitting for John Brazier today. I'm Bill Wardell.
And you're a lot taller than John, too. You're a good-looking man.
Thank you. And, of course, the host of this show is Tommy Green. And you're listening to the SEPTA Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. And our special guest, Tommy,
How about that?
is Director of Amateur Scouting for the Philadelphia Phillies, Rob Holliday. Rob, welcome to the
He's
Baseball
the man.
Insider Show.
Oh.
Take it away, Rob.
Good afternoon, Bill
So
and
good
Tommy.
seeing him, man. It's been a while.
Nice
It's
to
been
see
a
you
while,
guys.
sir.
Rob, take us through the steps. On Friday, they dedicated Dick Allen Field over there in Roosevelt Park.
What a great day that was.
Absolutely. And, you know, Dick, he was one of my favorites of all time. But take us through where the Urban Academy is and where do you see it in the next couple of years?
Sure. Well, I'll just give you a little history on it, first of all. One of our strongest efforts that the Phillies make is just to try to get as many kids involved in the game as possible. So we started our RBI program. In this case, it stands for Reviving Baseball in Inner Cities a long time ago. And this is to give kids from all over the city the opportunity to play quality, organized baseball. And that's kind of an introductory program. It just gets them involved and gets them going. As we found after years of the RBI program, some of the kids had talent. And we really wanted to help them bring their talent out, and they needed a boost. So that's why we formed our Major League Baseball Phillies Urban Youth Academy. And basically what that consists of is we have 2 baseball fields and 2 softball fields in FDR Park and an indoor facility at 17th and Fitzwater.
Yeah.
So we can give these kids the quality training year-round to help them compete with players from around the suburbs and across the country. So we provide for them, it's all free, baseball training, softball training, and educational programs to help get them to college. So with the 2 fields that we have, the 2 baseball fields, the first one opened in 1998, and we named it after Richie Ashburn.
Yeah.
Those were actually from the proceeds from the Home Run Derby from the '96 All-Star game that we hosted here.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball likes to leave a legacy behind when they have an All-Star game. So we built that in '98. This new field was built when we officially opened our academy in 2015, and it has been unnamed until now. And we just felt that with the unique place in our history that Dick Allen has, this was a perfect fitting to have it named after him. So we were finally able to get that done and put the sign up on Friday, and so he'll be forever immortalized over there.
That's awesome. That's so great. That's a great setup you have over there with those fields. I've been over there and happened to done some things with the program from time to time over there and see the kids, and it's a good setup you got over there. It's great to have that avenue for the kids to be able to come be a part of and see and be on a field like that that's taken care of and have that chance to do things, which is credit to y'all.
Well, thank you. Well, you know, the Phillies, this is a partnership between the Phillies and Philadelphia Parks and Recreation. And the Phillies, our groundskeepers, maintain the fields. That's why they're so nice.
That's why it looks so good.
They do a great job. And actually, back in 2020, when we had a shortened spring training and we had our spring training, quote-unquote, summer camp, the Major League players used our field, this particular field there.
Yeah.
So the fields are very well kept. So this is kind of like the big league field for kids from around the city. And we get a lot of people over there. Tommy, you can get over there anytime and help us with our pitchers. And you were a great hitter, too. We can help us with the hitters.
Those days are long gone, but I'm all about doing stuff like that. I mean, that's all great. And hopefully I'll be able to we find that y'all had the schedules and let me know, and then we'll see what we can do about it. You know, I'd love to be involved with it like that. I think I talked to John about it, and I think he's going to keep me informed about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're invited anytime.
6% of African Americans are in the big leagues today, which is way, way down. How do you convince the African American youngster not to put his eggs in the basketball basket or the football basket, because they feel that that's the quickest way to start them?
So, over all the years that I've been involved in this, it has never been an issue of kids not wanting to play. It's only been lack of opportunity. So the more opportunities we can provide, the more kids come out. So everywhere all over the city, we will go and target areas where baseball has been dormant for a while, and a lot of those areas are in communities where it's highly populated with African Americans, and the kids will come out and play. If you provide it, they absolutely will come out and play, and that's what this is. So, the RBI program is nationwide, and there are 8 urban youth academies around the country, and we all kind of work together with Major League Baseball. So that's the goal. Is we're trying to increase the pool of players in our game, and we certainly have lost out on players from the cities. And that's what we have to do to get them out there. There are fields there. They need to be maintained. They need to have good coaches. You need to be able to train these kids to be able to compete with the rest of the country. And it's a big lift, but that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
The one thing you mentioned, there's 8 Major League franchises that have an academy. Why isn't there more? That's what bothers me. If you're trying to spread the word, you got to get it in every big league city.
You're absolutely right. And it's hard to do. It was a challenge for us here as much as we had the backing of everyone, from the mayor to the Phillies to everyone. It's a challenge to find the land. It's a challenge to put the programs together. And we certainly hope that more major league clubs will do this. Some of them that don't have official urban youth academies, they do other things in their city. But we all have to do more. We're just not, none of the teams, we're not doing enough. We have to do more to get more kids involved in our game for sure.
Tommy, anything else?
No, what they're doing, and I know what the Phillies have done since I've been back up here involved and doing things, to see what they do in the community, to me is unprecedented. They're always reaching out. They're trying to make the youth better. They're trying to make the community better and touch the community in some aspect with their charitable functions and stuff like that. I can't say how much, the Phillies, I appreciate what they've done. And also they've been a part of my life and what they've done for me. It's great to be a part of, to say I feel like I'm a part of the family, they make you feel that way. And that's so good to see what y'all do, because you work for them and say thank you for what you do out in the community, especially for the kids. That's awesome.
Rob, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your hectic schedule, joining us on the SEPTA Baseball Insider Show right here for the ballpark. But I really appreciate you taking the time and coming down to join Tommy and myself.
It's my pleasure, guys, and thanks for having me, and keep up the good work. We appreciate it.
Well, we're going to talk some ball. I know that. With me and Bill, that's what we do.
Absolutely. All right, Tommy, it's time now for the Smart Stat of the Week.
All right.
Brought to you by Payroll Services Solution. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. Tommy, take it away.
You got it, my friend. In the Smart Stat of the Week, and it's probably everybody on the planet knows something about this. And what they call it is Swervefest is on, my friend. And I got a good stat with it. It's going to take place over the last 3 years during the month of June. That stat is Kyle Schwarber has played in 63 ball games in the last 3 years, right, in June. And he's hit 32 home runs.
Wow.
The closest to him is Shohei Ohtani with 22. That's the closest in the big leagues. So that's one stat. But during that time, his batting average has been 271 with over 279 plate appearances. So that's outstanding. But the other part of this stat is what's so amazing. He has, of his 64 hits that he's had during those 3 years in June, 50% of them are home runs.
Wow.
Do you believe that?
That's unbelievable.
It's hard to fathom that. That's what he does. He's a masher. That's what we can say, he's a masher. That's the stat of the week.
That was your Phillies Smart Stat of the Week. Once again, brought to you by Payroll Service Solution. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Call them again at 1-866-PAY-EASY. Tommy, that was a great stat.
Yes, it was, man.
And you got a couple other stats right now.
we got a bunch of other stuff going on here, man. We got with the games this week, and you know what they've done this past week. You know, as far as hitting and pitching, you know, and it's a good correlation. I was watching everything, and I did the stats, what they did. You know, our starting pitchers, we hit on it earlier, was so great. I thought this past week. You know, you had Nolan and Suarez got two starts during this past 7 days. You know, and they went almost. I mean, if you both of them went over 13 innings. You know, during those 2 starts, which it gets us deeper into bullpen. You don't see the 5-inning start or 4 in the third or 2/3 like we saw earlier in the year. They're getting to the point where they're getting into the 7th and 8th inning, you know, sometimes. And, you know, Wheeler, can't say enough about Wheeler and Walker, what they did. Wheeler carried a no-hitter into the 8th. The same thing with Nola, too. He had to, where it gets to short, we carried a no-hitter into the 7th. But, you know, and Walker, the great outing he had with 7 innings, didn't give up 2 hits, no runs. You know, that's what, a team and a week we had, the week being a 5-1 week. It started around our pitching. It gave our offense a chance, you know, where they didn't feel, to me, I think, didn't feel pressured to do things. They had good pitching. They knew one swing of the bat can make a difference. And we had that one swing of the bat during one of the games where Schwarber hit a leadoff home run, and it stood up. We won a 1-0 game. You know how happy that makes me feel to see. I mean, I'm an ex-pitcher, but I love to hit, and I love the offensive side of things. But it's nothing like a well-pitched baseball game to me, where one swing of the bat makes a difference.
No question about it.
And I love to see that, man. And, you know, we got plenty of other stats. You hit on, I mean, whatever you want to know, I probably can answer for you. But
I'm going to ask you about a pitcher that I'm intrigued by. And you saw a guy was a starter, was a reliever,
and
a starter again. I'm talking about John Smoltz, a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah.
Connor Brogdon, does he have the makeup to be a starting pitcher in today's game?
I mean, to me, I think he's got the stuff. I'd have to see, because he's been more fastball changeup. I'd like to see what else he develops, if they're going to use him as a starter in the minor leagues. I don't know. But I know they said he got away from his fastball, you know. I mean, that's just me. He got away from his fastball. When you get away from it, the old adage, you lose it. I mean, if you don't use it, you lose it type thing. Well, it's a thing. It's not that he lost. I mean, he lost a little bit of velocity, but my thing is, if you don't use it and you're not throwing it more often, you lose command of it too, and you start missing with it in areas you don't need to. And I saw times where he was throwing 4 or 5 change-ups or more in a row from a guy that throws in the mid-90s, you know? And I don't understand. I can't fathom that a little bit, you know? I mean, he was out there. To me, it was all about trying to trick people all the time. I don't know. Maybe starting would be a good thing for him too, you know, just to change the mindset, stretch him out a little bit, let him pitch, you know, let him work through some things, you know. That's, you know, Rob, we were talking about it, you know, off air, you know, pitchers you got to figure out the way, especially in the minor leagues, how to get out of trouble, how to do things, you know. You know, just because you're going through a lineup the 3rd time, people were scared to let him go. You know, that guy could be locked in pretty good, and you take him out, and then you're putting a reliever in that gives up the boat. You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't get things. That's just the way I grew up. They wanted us to go. They wanted us to learn how and get in those situations. And, you know, if we got into it and, you know, we run our pitch count high or whatever, I guess, when they were keeping it, and, you know, it was the manager's job to come get us, you know. But you got to get into trouble to know how to get out of trouble, you know. Not everything's going to be perfect all the time, you know, so you got to figure that stuff out.
Now, Tommy, most pitches are called from the dugout, right?
No.
No?
No, we had nobody calling pitches from the dugout when I pitched.
What about today?
I have no idea.
Right.
You're asking the wrong dude. Now they got mics in their ears,
right,
and I don't know what the devil's going on.
Would you have liked that?
It was me and Dutch back in me and Dutch, me and Steve Lake, me and Darren Fletcher, or, you know, me and Todd Pratt. You know, it was us. I mean, nobody knows what I got that day better than me, that catcher. You know, and it's our job as a unit how we approach the hitter, you know. And just because the hitter's a fastball hitter, don't mean we can't throw him a fastball. That means you gotta locate. You just can't. Just because he's a high, he can hit the high 90s fastball, don't mean you can't throw it like Gary Sheffield. Basically, I threw him fastballs all the time, but I threw it far enough away that all he gave me was a fly ball to center field. You know, and he couldn't jerk it. You know, he couldn't get it because that's what he liked to do. He liked to, you know, because he was so quick, he'd get out. You know, he wanted to get out on you, and you got it far enough away from him, kept it on that out there on the outside corner. He'd give you that fly ball to center. That's it, and that's the bigger part of the ballpark. You know, so that's just the way it goes.
All right, Tom, you got to take a quick break. But before we go to break, consider a career at SEPTA. SEPTA is hiring a variety of skilled positions, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, millwright, and more. As a SEPTA employee, you will earn a competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org. We'll be right back on the Baseball Insider Show, live from Citizens Bank Park.
SEPTA offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, prove it.
SEPTA offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org. SEPTA offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, prove it.
From Philadelphia to the Lehigh Valley and everywhere in between. For 150 years, Penn Community Bank has been a part of your neighborhood. Helping businesses start, supporting families as they grow, and staying connected to the people and places that make this region special. It's who we are and where we're from. Penn Community Bank. Here we are, and here we grow.
We now return to the SEPTA Baseball Insider Show, presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games John Brazier and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Green.
BCWSA, live here from Citizens Bank Park. And of course, back at the station and manning the controls is Stephen Lawler. Mr. Tommy Green is our great host today. I'm Bill Werndell, pitch hitting for John Brazier. Tommy, you have some interesting pitching statistic. Break it all down for us.
Well, I tell you, I mean, while we were talking about off air, I wanted to show you. You look at I got to looking at things last night when I was going over stuff, and I took the total year so far, the stats a little bit, the ERA, the base on balls, Ks, hit average against our pitchers, and I wanted to look also at the innings pitched versus how many hits we've given up. Compare it like to the year average and to this past week. Why did we have a good week? Well, we'll see. For the year average, we've pitched a total as a unit, as a pitching staff, we've pitched 557 innings, and we've given up 522 hits, which we've given up less hits than innings, which is good because that's less runners we have on base. That's a pretty good thing. But why is this week better than our year thing? All right. We'll look at that. This past week, we played in 6 ball games. We had 54 innings total pitched. We give up 36 hits. We're almost what we were for the total year of below innings, which just shows you how well we pitched this week. Which is a good thing because you look at the ERA for the year, we're 20th as a staff with a 4.44 ERA. For the last 7 days, we're 7th with a 2.83.
Wow.
And that's with a game that the Dodgers scored 11 runs on us. So we probably could have been leading, if we had given up 1 or 2, we probably could have been leading baseball. This past week, and that's one of the reasons why. We're not giving up. We didn't give up the hits. We didn't have the extra runners on, and we didn't walk. We were like middle of the road in walks. But what we did well, we were fifth this past week in baseball in strikeouts. We had guys that struck out a bunch of guys. So that ebbs and flows a little bit. But bottom line, we used to look at is, what's the sign of a good year? If you got, and Leo Mazzoni used to say this, you had less hits than innings pitched. That was a pretty good year. That means, you're not having, you see some guys that struggle, they give up more hits than innings. That means you got at least a runner or more on base. That's not counting your walks, that you do throughout the year. If you walk 70-some guys when you pitch, you're talking a runner and a half or almost 2 runners a game every inning on base. And then one hit cost you, so that type of thing. So anytime you have less hits than innings as a pitcher is a huge thing. Now, the man that just sat beside us right here, I want to welcome to the show Mr. Milt Thompson. Loves all the hits he can get in an inning.
No question.
How you doing, my friend?
Nice, Milt. Milt Thompson joining us here on the Baseball Insider Show, live from Citizens Bank Park.
Yeah.
Milt, the Phillies the last week, they started to get some pretty good pitching.
But, you got to understand, we were facing some teams we better beat.
Yeah, you got to take advantage of that, right?
You're exactly right. Teams you're supposed to beat, you're supposed to jump on them early.
Well, you think we talked about it too. We actually got some well-pitched ball games by both those guys.
Yes.
By both teams.
Yes.
And then some timely hitting is what matters.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Milt, when you see this club right now, they're a little bit of an offensive funk. What do you see with this club? Are they pressing a little bit?
I think they're pressing a little bit, but I think they're trying to find themselves. I think one of the hardest things to do in baseball is to get a runner in from third base. And if you try to do it, it's not going to happen. But if you stick to the game plan of using the center of the field, you're going to have a lot more success. But you can't go up there and try to pull the ball. That's the worst thing you can do. I was always thinking about hitting the ball over a shortstop's head. So if I get something
and you
off
were
speed,
left-handed.
Yes.
You were left-handed, so that means you were waiting on it.
So now if I get something off speed, I'm still in a good position to keep that ball in fair territory.
Yep, exactly. You get something off speed, you still keep it. I've seen you do that a number of times.
A lot of guys are pull happy today. Is that the philosophy on baseball, that they want guys to pull the ball?
Well, I think, guys are trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark, so you're cheating. And you get out too quick.
I always like that. I always like the guys who cheated. Yeah.
If you watch the home run derby every year at the All-Star break, guys are trying to hit home runs and can't hit them. So
it's amazing how that works.
It's it's not that easy. You put a good swing on the ball and you square a ball up, good things happen. You know, I used to call it tension free. There's no tension in my swing, you know, and I make contact and the ball jumps.
It's almost, I mean, you hit on something right there. It's almost because part of my job, I pitched every 5th day. So the other 4 days, I was watching the best of the business play the game of baseball, not just pitching, but play. And you could see a guy at the plate that was comfortable and confident and didn't seem to worry about things. It's like a worry-free or tension-free type swing. It kind of just happened, you know, and the ball jumped off his bat. I mean, it was unbelievable to see that. And I mean, I saw that, you know, and then you see guys that press a little bit. It's almost like you could see them, a little bit of tension, a little bit jumpy, you know. Their head moves or wanting to go after it a little bit too much. Sort of like what you hit on Castellanos earlier in the show.
Yeah.
Castellanos last year.
Yes.
Was more like that, I thought, you know. It's just
and the thing was, you saw him swing a lot of bad breaking balls that were never a strike, but that's
his
because
head moved
he
a lot.
committed.
Yeah.
He committed early, and when you commit early, instead of trusting your hands and letting the ball get deeper,
okay,
now you got a chance to be successful.
Why do you think because we talked about it, he asked me what I thought, my view. Why do you think that he's had more success this year?
I think one of the things is, you know, he came in, new contract, and put a little extra pressure on himself. And I think that's the same thing going on with Turner.
Yeah, I agree.
Over, you know, just trying too hard, you know, to make you know, just trying to do everything instead of just staying inside yourself. You know, I always say this all the time. You can't force the game. You got to let the game come to you. And do what you do best. And then that's very important. You know, guys sometimes get out of sync. You know, when you were talking about pitching, I used to watch, when I was a hitting coach, I used to watch Livan Hernandez take the sting out of guys' bats.
Oh, God, yeah.
You know, take a little off it and just let guys get themselves out.
Well, you hit it on the head right there. One of our guys that you know very well, we both come up in the Braves organization, Leo Mazzoni. One of his famous words is don't give the hitter too much credit. They'll get themselves out if you let them.
Exactly right.
And the thing about it, Hernandez was he'd take a little bit off, a little bit. What he was doing virtually is staying off the barrel of the bat. He was hitting it off the end, off the label a little bit, off the end. They never seemed to hit him quite as hard, you know, type thing. And it took the sting. I mean, like you say, it took the sting out of it.
I mean, you look at guys.
He was a pitcher.
Yes.
He was a pitcher.
You look at guys like Maddox and Schilling.
Yeah.
First time through the lineup, they're just moving their fastball around. They're not even trying to show you all their stuff.
I was like that. Yeah.
You know, you don't want to use your out pitches until you have to.
Oh yeah. If you're going to be aggressive, if I make a quality pitch with my fastball, a lot of time you're going to give me that fly ball, you know, that I want, that quick out.
Yes.
Or that ground ball out. You know, if you want to be that jumpy at it, you know, and now if I make a mistake, that's when you can get me.
That's
over
exactly
the plate.
right.
But if I just assume throw 27 pitches in a ball game and go back home. You know, if you're going to be aggressive, I don't care about the strikeouts.
Yeah, I mean, you're smart. You say, I'm going to let this guy get himself out. You know,
right.
You're going to let him get himself out. Just take a little bit off, let him hit it foul, and then you get ahead of him. See you later.
How many times did Maddox do that? He would throw change-ups in to a right-hander, and they jerk it foul about 900 feet, you know, you're not even close to being fair.
Yeah.
And he'd do it again. He'd be 0-2. And that's what happened. It was unbelievable.
All right, Tommy and Milt, we'll be right back, but we have to pay some bills at the radio station. Consider a career at SEPTA. SEPTA relies on and needs bus drivers, engineers, conductors. As a SEPTA employee, you'll earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's job.septa.org today. We'll be right back after these messages.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
SEPTA offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
From Philadelphia to the Lehigh Valley and everywhere in between. For 150 years, Penn Community Bank has been a part of your neighborhood. Helping businesses start, supporting families as they grow, and staying connected to the people and places that make this region special. It's who we are and where we're from. Penn Community Bank. Here we are, and here we grow.
We now return to the SEPTA Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games John Brazier and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Green.
Citizens Bank Park. And with us is Milt Thompson, our special guest, and the co-host, the great co-host, Tommy Green. Before we get to Milt and Tommy, did you know SEPTA operates a fully electrified multimodal rail system and is one of the largest green bus fleets in the nation? 2 reasons why SEPTA commuters have 1/3 of the carbon footprints of those who travel by car. Visit iseptaphilly.com to plan your trip today. That's iseptaphilly.com. Back with Milt Thompson and Tommy Green.
No.
Milt, I'm going to ask you about one thing that really ticks me off in baseball, and Tommy, the armament that players wear today at home plate. I mean, they look like knights in shining armor.
Might as well put on catching equipment.
Exactly. I don't understand that. And the pitchers can't throw inside, Tommy.
Damn, hey, I would. Hey, if they wearing it, that just gives me more reason to go in there. It ain't going to hurt. I mean, you got to go. The key to pitching, and Mill to tell you, you got to pitch in. But you can't jack around on the inside part of the plate. Sometimes you got to get it in there to let that guy know that he can't have that outside corner all the time. He can't eat on both sides of the plate. Yeah, that plate is meant for the way I took it. That's mine. This can be yours.
Yeah. Well, the thing I used to hate is that when somebody threw at my legs and I had to get out the way, now I got to find my spot again. So good pitchers make you move your feet.
Yeah.
Make you move your feet.
Yeah, we want to just make them move their feet. And that's good in a good way. Yeah. They're down in the zone.
Yes.
They're not up here. I mean, they're trying. I mean, balls get away from guys. It's not we're not perfect. You know, it happens. You know.
But
now they get to go to their mouth on the mound. Back in the day, we couldn't.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
All these rules are implementing today. Is it good for the game of baseball? Milt and Tommy, go ahead.
Easy, Milt.
I don't know. I ain't gonna say too much. I mean, why does the base have to be bigger? You know what I'm saying? What does that do? A bigger base. You know. Well, and then I wish I was playing now where you can only throw over twice. Oh my God.
You'd have 100
They're killing us. They're killing us. They're
Yeah.
killing us.
Right.
Yeah, as pitchers. You know, and I mean, and one guy that might be affected more than others, I think, is Nola a little bit, because he's more methodical in what he does on the way he goes about his business. Everybody's not the same, you know.
Hey, can somebody help me about yesterday? Why did I know Thompson got thrown out yesterday?
Yeah.
He can't throw balls out.
I don't know. I mean, I happened to be traveling. I was listening to it on the radio, and L.A. lost his mind. You know, and
like, what is this? He don't like the ball. He can get another one.
I know.
That happened many years ago in Cincinnati. Gene Mauch was managing the Phillies. Grant Jackson was pitching, and he wanted a new ball. And the umpire said no. Mauch went out, threw the ball on the ground, stomped on it, and he got thrown out of the ball game. But that's what happened.
Well, see, I mean, people are obviously they're going to try to get around certain rules, what they're trying to do things. Maybe Nola needed a blow. You know, he was just getting a whatever. Or I've had balls that I've gotten back that felt bigger than others, you know. And I was like, it felt like I was throwing a bigger ball, and I was like, no, I want another ball. But we didn't have the pitch clock back then like that. But see, it restarts the pick. We're working off time now. Why are we working off time? The baseball wouldn't have been made to be doing it. We're not playing NFL football. We're not playing NBA basketball where there's a shot clock. I mean, why? I don't understand that.
Well, he got, 2 or 3 strikeouts the last time he was out there because the guy wasn't looking at him with 7 seconds
That's
left.
the fact. Do you think that? I don't. People ask me why. I'm concerned that, okay, we do have the wild card teams and stuff like that, and that late in the game or during the course of a game could take the bat out of somebody's hand that could make a difference in that ball game, and they lose that ball game and they lose out of getting in that wild card spot because of a game like that. That is bad. That is bad. That shouldn't happen. That's my view.
All right.
Yeah.
You brought up a subject. We have 6 wild cards, 6 teams in both both leagues going to the playoffs. I think it's too many teams going to the playoffs. I'm going to be very honest with you. I know it's about money, Tommy, but, I think you're not going to get the best 2 teams in the World Series every year.
Well, that's the problem. Look at the teams that were supposed to go last year and they didn't go.
Right.
But, that's the thing about baseball. Whoever's hot
Oh, man. Right.
at the moment, get in, and then it depends on who's hot.
They asked me last year, the shows, Chris and everybody were what we thought, about what's good. I said, about the Phillies, I said, we got to get healthy. We have to get healthy now. We got to find a 5th starter.
Oh, my God.
But we have to get healthy and get on a roll. How much are we missing Hoskins? His power. How much are we missing that? That's another question. But I tell you, it's that way, man.
That you guys brought up the 5th starter. I mean, they're talking about baseball expansion, so every team will have 2 legitimate starters, and the rest of the guys will have openers every day when the 2 starters don't pitch.
For the life of me, I can't understand it because I remember in 2007 when I was coaching, we brought Kendrick up from AA.
Yeah.
And he just gave us good quality starts. He gave us innings and stuff, and he learned how to pitch. You know what I'm saying? These guys today, bullpen game? What's going to happen in September when we need those bullpen arms?
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to be dead.
Yeah.
Even though you're carrying the extra 3 guys, and I think that's the way they look at it.
Yeah.
But still, those guys are getting to use. You tend to use the guys that are going to be your guys. I mean, the Alvarados, and we just got him back. I'm glad to see him back. But we lost Brogdon, because he's struggling, scuffling himself a little bit. We're trying to find that continuity down there again. We thought we had. Now, we got to step up and do some things. And it starts. It makes these guys' jobs a lot easier if we can pitch it. If we get on a good little roll and just be consistent, not getting too high, not getting too low. You don't have to be perfect, but giving us quality starts to give them a chance to do their job and what they need to do.
Exactly.
It takes the pressure off.
Both you guys agree, and I agree, they need a 5th starter. Your future is now. You can't worry about 2-3 years down the road. You may have to overpay for a starter. There's got to be a starter or 2 with some bad teams who are not going to the playoff. I certainly think that's what you got to do.
Well, I haven't looked down in the minor leagues that much. People were asking me about, with Abel. I looked a little bit, and talking about guys that had a chance that's on the roster to do it in spring training to show up. Abel, I'm a firm believer you kind of earned the right. Are you pitching good in AA? If you're pitching, you don't have to be great, but are you pitching solid? If you're pitching solid, yeah. Why not give a guy the opportunity if you don't have anybody AAA that's struggling, like the AAA staff's struggling? Why not give somebody that start? That's a quality arm that can come and do things. Not that he's lighting the world on fire, but why does it?
You got a guy who has command of the zone and can throw strikes. Bring him up.
Hey, it's a lost art as far as that concerned. Everybody puts everything too much. We go on stats and stuff on the numbers. That eye test is the guy competing out there. Is he throwing strike, keeping us in game? He's not walking the yard. He's challenging the guys with his assortment of pitches to put the ball in play. The defense tends to play well behind him because he does that. The guy's a pitcher. give them opportunity to do it. If we got somebody there, I'd rather see a starter that's a starter come up that's able to pitch 6-7 innings. His pitch count is, you can throw 110 pitches. They can do that and give our guys a chance to do it.
Well, with today's game, it's all about velocity, and that's the problem. Guys throwing 95 can't throw strikes. I mean, what good is that? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Throw the ball as hard as you can. Look at Maddox. That's why he's a Hall of Famer. He backed off and he became a paintbrush.
Well, I tell you what. I mean, that was there were some times I walked some guys, but overall, for a guy, I felt like I was on the power side. I didn't walk a lot of guys. I remember back in the Brave system, some of the guys says, how do you throw hard like you do and you don't walk a lot of guys? It's not that I was like Maddox or something like that. Pitch over 2 innings, I walk like 50-some guys or something, or 60 maybe. But it's not great, but it's not bad. For a guy that's a power guy, you expect maybe some be like that. But the more strikes you as a power guy, oh, man, you're going to be – if you're around that zone more often –
it's all about competing.
Well, I mean,
it's all about competing.
I remember there was one time I went 5 games in a row and didn't walk a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
amazing.
I mean,
all right,
for me, that was an accomplishment.
We got to put a wrap on this show. I could talk for 5 hours with you guys.
I could talk hitting and baseball with Milt Thompson with everybody.
Tomorrow night on WPCB, Dan Baker's special guest on the Bull Session will be Richard and Hank Allen. We'll join them in Malvern, Pennsylvania at 6 p.m. tomorrow night. Chicky and Pete's. Be there because it'll be a great, great show. Milt Thompson, I really appreciate you coming on. Tommy Green, another outstanding, a complete game for Tommy Green again. All right.
I picked up by Milt. He made a diving catch in left center.
We got to thank our support staff. Producer, Chris Ermer. Associate producer, Gus Barber. And back at the station, Stephen Lawler. Until next week on the SEPTA Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. I'm Bill Werndale, along with Tommy Green. Have a good day.